Well, hello guys, this is the Betamax Man. This is kind of a really neat machine. I have never been able to actually get my hands on one. This is not mine, this is a customer's machine, but this is the last high-end beta machine ever made. Now this was made in around 1990-91. They made these for a couple of years. I think 1990s when they started making them, and it was either 1990 or 91. So this is a SL-HF2100. The 2100, the Japanese one, is the SL-2100. The American one is the SL-HF2100. Now, there's no tape in this, but instantly it thinks there's a cassette inside. So it thinks that there is a cassette. So there's something going on here. Now, the owner has been into this. He did try and repair it himself, and he was unsuccessful. And so he has trusted me to bring it back to life. And we're sure gonna try. I'm probably about, well, depending on what's wrong with it, we're probably about a 80% chance that we can get this up and going. So if we hit, now you'll see here that these are all touch screen. So these are touchpad. It's a touchpad. So there's no buttons on this thing. It's just a touch screen. And it looks like it appears to, the screen appears to be working. However, it thinks that there's a cassette inside, and you can see that there's no tape inside. So we're gonna take a look at that. The seller put it back together. There are, there's a, that's a pretty good dent. It looks like it's been pried up. It looks like, yeah, maybe the owner was, or somebody had, looks like they were prying up with a screwdriver or something. Yeah, I hope that damage didn't happen in the mail. I'll contact the owner and see if this, and we'll see if this was caused by the mail people, or was this already here. So it's a good thing I'm filming this, because then we can go back and take a look at the video and see. Let's get the top off. I'm going to remove all the screws. This one is quite unique. This one looks like it's just a hair larger than my SL-HF2000. Which they both have the same chassis. They're very much, very similar. They both have the 711B3 chassis. But this one has a idler motor, a direct drive motor for the idler, and it has the pendulum gear. So it's got some of the 711B2 embedded into it, and it's got the B3 chassis, but there's some similarities to the tape reel motor. The tape reel, the idler motor is the setup for driving the tape through the machine. It's got a well, it's got a direct drive motor, but it's the same type of pendulum system that they had in the 711 B2. So it's got some of the B2 into it, and but it is a 711 B3 chassis. The B1 is a little bit different from the B2, and I've already explained those differences in another video, but anybody wants to know about them, just let me know and I'll let you know. But anyway, let's get this I'm gonna unplug it, and I'm gonna take the top off. We're gonna tear into this thing today and see what we can do with it. I am curious as to why it thinks that there's a tape inside. Now, this has not been put together all that well. As you can see, the bottom panel here is not put on quite right. It's not been fully pulled back. So this panel actually should be back a little bit more, and because it shouldn't have this gap here. But that's okay. I think the owner just wanted to get it, mainly put it back together so that I can take it apart to fix it, and then I'll put it all back together. You know, it's okay. I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, we don't put things, you know, sometimes, you know, things don't get put back exactly the way that they should be, but that's okay. So we're gonna take care of that. Now, he is missing one of the feet off of this thing, and I do have some feet that I can put on it. So we'll change out the 3, and well, we'll have 4 feet. One is missing, but we want to make all the feet all match. So I'm gonna get some feet for it. I have some feet that will work on it. I've got I think the parts SL-HF2100 VHS machine that I have a parts deck which has the gold colored feet, and they're a little taller, but they'll work on this thing, I think. So let's get this apart. Okay, so what I've done here is we took the screws off the shielding plate. This is looking very similar to the ED Beta that I have, because it's got a shielding plate here. And that was probably done so that there is no electrical interference. And that's probably why Sony did that. This is definitely a lot more involved than... Oh, here we go. Oh, whoa, look at that. Well, we got a loading motor that's missing there. And here's the... This is the mode switch, which is a completely sealed unit. The only way to clean these is to just get your some contact cleaner with a straw, and you can put the straw down in between the black plastic and the circuit board, and you can shoot some cleaner in there and then just turn it like that, and that'll work some cleaner in there and get that clean. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And obviously we've got a motor that's some pieces are missing here. So, and why is it thinking that there's a cassette inside? That's kind of what I'm wanting to know. Okay, this has got, oh wow, this is the very first time I have seen a head cleaner for a Betamax machine. This is the video head cleaning. Well, we're probably gonna take that off, because that'll actually if that deteriorates in any way. Well, it doesn't look like it's deteriorated. I'm going to recommend to the owner that we at least take the wheel off of here to get rid of this erase head cleaner. It's just a sponge, but the sponge will deteriorate over time, and it'll actually put more crap on the head than it will take off. Now this has got a flying erase head, just like the SL-HF2100 does. So you've got a flying erase head, but you've also got a, this is a tape stabilizer. So this is it's got a tape stabilizer. So it looks like there are some pieces missing here. So I'm trying to determine as to okay, it doesn't look like he's took anything else off. It looks like he's took the loading motor off. And he told me that he was trying to repair this himself. So the owner has been into this. Now I'm going to make sure that this is plugged into the right spot, because if it gets plugged in to the wrong spot, then it won't work right. So, but it may be colored. It may have a color connector on there. So the first thing that I'll need to do is get a loading motor, and we'll put that on there, and we'll need to see as to, I need to go and get the circuit board loose, because I need to see where the because there's going to be a plug where I'm going to need to plug in the loading motor. So it should be underneath this circuit board here. This is the very first time ever taking apart a it's actually nice, because the way they've got it designed, they've got it so that this top panel can come off, and you actually don't have to take the side panels off. You could just leave them on. Now it does look like some of the plastic is broken for the mounting tab. There's some screws missing. There's actually supposed to be 3 screws that holds the front faceplate on. The mounting tabs here, there's screws that go through them. So those are missing. The on-screen display seems to work okay. It just seems to be the okay, so it looks like he's had the cassette basket out as well. So I can't really do anything until we put a loading motor. So I'm gonna get a loading motor, and we'll put on this thing and plug it in, and we'll see what's going on. But I may need to do some timing. I need to retime. Okay, here's something that's concerning me right off the get-go. The threading arm, this guide is jammed solid. So it should not be, because with the motor removed, the guide should be free to move. This guide actually should be free, and it should not be. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, I just moved it. We started moving it back and forth, and was able to get it. It looks like it is getting stuck. There is a point where it's getting stuck, so we'll probably have to take the threading assembly apart and see what's going on. But it does look like Sony has added a top shielding plate to keep the guide from popping out. But why is it getting to a certain spot and then it won't move any farther? So it can go back, we can move it back, but because it won't move forward, so we have to determine as to what is causing the loading assembly, the threading assembly, this loading gear here. Why is that not moving? So this is, I'm thinking that this is just going to be a mechanical repair. It may not have anything wrong with the electronics. It may just be mechanical. I don't really know for sure until so a loading motor isn't going to do me any good if the loading ring doesn't move freely. So there's a gear that's jammed up. So we're gonna find out as to what's causing that to jam up. And that was not in. Okay, so that's, yeah, that shouldn't be, yeah, that's, okay, let's see if we can, there's a, this plate here, you can take the plate off here, and, I can get it free, but I want to see what's causing that, so I'm going to take my little, I'm going to take a standard screwdriver here, and we're going to put it down. So there's a black gear down there. That black gear turns, and that should actually thread and unthread the loading ring. So the loading ring is got an issue, for one. And I'm still working on the SL-5000 too, so I'm trying to determine as to what is causing this to jam up. So this might be quite a while to, because I have to tear, if I've got to tear the whole entire mechanism, I'm gonna have to take the whole entire head drum assembly out and completely disassemble the whole entire loading ring and find out what's causing it to jam up, because it shouldn't be, the loading ring shouldn't be jammed up like that. So I'm just trying to determine as to what is causing that. Let me get my dental pick here, because this will be a lot better to use to try to get in there and find out what's going on. So this white gear down here moves, will move the pinch roller. So the pinch roller actually goes back like that, and then you put the motor back in. So why is this jammed up? Is it just lubrication that is dried up and is gumming it up? I don't know, but we're gonna get to the bottom of this. So we're going to see what we can do and see if we can get this thing back up and going, because like I said, I have to actually physically see the machine before I can do any kind of diagnostics. But I'm just trying to determine as to what is causing. Now, why is it not? There we go. Come on. Yeah, this is a little different from, this has got a little bit extra hardware in it. We're gonna find out what's causing this, because I don't want to grab the teeth, but I want to find out as to why. Why is this all jammed up here? Yeah, because this shouldn't be. We'll probably take this top plate off here. I think I'll take this top plate off, and we'll take this off as well. So we'll take the little spring off here, so we can get to the. There goes the spring. Definitely don't want to lose it. So at this point in time, I'm just trying to determine, to find out what is causing the gear to be stuck and froze like that. Okay. This gear is froze too. Okay. Okay, looks like this has been taken off as well. This here, what this does is this is what pushes the controller up against the capstan. You see this? This is what, because when this goes up here like this, right? So this piece, it pushes the controller up against the capstan. You see? Yeah, let's get that off. Let's get this off here. How's this? There's a bunch of wires in my way here. There we go. Take that off. Next thing I want to do here is I'm going to take off this plate, because I want to find out why the loading ring is getting stuck. But yeah, this skips. So this is fine. This side is okay. It's just this side that's... Yeah, see? That'll actually cause the it'll cause that gear to break. If I was to put a loading motor on there, what it would do is it would break that gear, because this won't move, right? So the motor will keep turning and this won't move, and then boom, it'll snap. So that's why right now I am not going to put a motor on there right now at this point in time, because I have to determine as to what is causing the loading arm to get stuck when it is just barely starts to thread and then it's stuck. So we're going to, and as you can see, when we do that, you can see this black gear here that will move. So I'm going to try to repair this without taking the whole entire loading ring apart, but at this point in time I may have to. I don't really know. So we're going to take these two screws off, because I'm going to pull this metal plate off, because I want to get to that gear and find out what is causing it to not go any further. Okay, so with that being said, let's get my little number one screwdriver, and we're just gonna take the plate off here. So I'm gonna take this plate off, and that is going to allow me to get access to the gear. That's not even the right screw. That shouldn't have. That's got a built-in washer, and that's typically used for the loading motor. And these are loose, so he's probably had this plate off before himself. So it looks like we just have a mechanical. So there goes the so let's check this out and see if there's any. Oh yeah, we found the problem. There's a tooth missing. It's sheared off two of the teeth. Now it's got more teeth that are sheared. So this is so this gear here is completely broken, and this could have happened. This may not be what's causing the threading gear. This may not be what's causing the thing to get jammed. This might have happened when the person tried to test it out, or they went to use the machine, and this probably happened because of that. So that's not a big deal though. So let's see why, or let's see if we can get our loading ring to no, we still can't get it to move. So we're still jammed up. This is pretty well jammed up there, so I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, I'm gonna do what I didn't want to do. And that, so I'm thinking that this has happened when tape was inserted, and I don't know, but I think this happened while tape was inserted and it tried to load, and this is probably, these teeth probably sheared off and broke because it wouldn't go any farther, and so it just sat there. So the motor sat there turning it. It was just turning, and it started tearing off all the teeth because it was just sitting there trying to turn, and it wasn't moving, going anywhere, and so it sheared the teeth right off of that. So we're gonna have to do a complete disassembly of the loading ring. So I've got to find out as to why. This is really puzzling me as to why the threading isn't going. See, so I think it was, this is definitely just a mechanical problem, at least so far. Okay, so we need to get a new one of those. We need a new gear for that. Ooh, I can hear that rotary transformer. Oh, this may not last them very long. Now, maybe we just need to lubricate it. We'll put a little bit of oil down in there. We'll put a little motor oil down in there in the bearing, and see if we can get this to. So that concerns me too, because it's not like you're gonna get fine erase head rotary transformer, right? Unless you've got like a parts deck that you can. But this is this has got the same, it looks like it's the same exact one that the SL-HF2100 has. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I have to take the head drum out, and I've gotta pull the tape guides. These two tape guides, I gotta pull those off. I've gotta pull both of the loading ring plastic caps. These little caps here, we're gonna pull those off. We'll completely disassemble the loading ring here so that we can get access to it and determine yeah, that's kind of puzzling me. Could be that a guide has broke, because if a guide breaks and if the guide gets caught in the loading ring, because the guides, they're so what you're dealing with here is you've got guides that will pop up. They're spring loaded, and when they get to a certain, when the threading ring starts to go around the head, they'll get to a certain spot and then they'll pop up. And this little guide is what they ride it into. So there's a tape guide that stops here. There's another one that stops over here. Okay, so what you've got here is these little spring guides, sometimes because they're made out of plastic. Okay, so the guide itself is metal, and the spring is metal, of course, but you've got plastic as well. And so when it pops up, sometimes they actually break off at the joint, and they can get lodged inside of here, underneath the loading ring here, under these plastic pieces here. But they get lodged in there, and then the threading loading ring, it won't go any farther because there's something blocking it. Something is causing it to not go any further than that. So let's get the bottom off of this thing. I'm going to pull the head out. I'm going to pull the two loading. I'm gonna pull all of the plates off. So we're gonna completely disassemble the whole entire loading ring, and you guys will get to see what it looks like when we're gonna show you everything. So I'm gonna show you as much as I can. And if you're having this type of symptom, and this is what I'm speculating. I'm thinking, okay? This is what I'm thinking, is that there was a tape guide that broke off and got lodged in here, and so now the loading ring won't go any farther. Now, did this loading ring, you know, maybe when it was coming back and then it broke off, actually, I think on my, I think I did, maybe it was the 2000, but I think it was my SL-HF2100. The loading, one of the guides actually broke off, and so I had to replace it. But I don't think I did a video on that one, when that happened, because that just happened and I didn't do a video on it, and I should have, but now I guess we'll get the opportunity to. So yeah, let's get started on the disassembly. Okay, I pulled the video head out. So we got the head there. Now, what's happened is exactly what I thought. I can see that there is, I don't know, I'm gonna light here. Right down in there, there is the guide has broke off. It has snapped. So we're gonna need to replace the loading ring. Okay, so we'll take apart these two white plastic covers is what we'll need to remove. Now we're going to need to remove all the screws so that we can get to the loading ring, because I bet you that the guide is in somewhere down inside here, and that's why the loading ring won't move any farther. Because with the guide, which is basically sitting in there, so I bet you if we take these pieces off, we're gonna see the guide, and it's probably gonna be down inside. Okay, so I've got the loading ring off. So we took that off. This is what we see. So when we try to move the guide, you can actually see that it is separated. It's broken. The plastic is just broken. So the plastic gets really brittle on these, and they'll actually break off. And so the loading ring, because it is broken and separated from the other pieces, it's causing it to jam up. So there's something, you can see how it's wanting to separate. It's because it's broken. So there's not much I can do with this loading ring. There's a cup washer which holds this center piece in position. So what I think I'll do is we'll do a repair on the loading ring. I'm actually going to have to repair the whole entire loading ring, in order to get this thing up and back up and operational, because yeah, this is and then here's a little solenoid here. They've got a solenoid activated head cleaner. So this gets activated and it'll clean your heads. So we'll take the other side of the loading assembly. Now this whole loading ring is now I can actually remove the other, or remove the other piece, but I'm still wondering as to, so because this is separated and broken loose, you can see down in here where pieces of the plastic are actually missing itself. So yeah, we got our work cut out for this with this one. This one's gonna be probably a 3 to 4 hour job, and that's because I have to take all this stuff apart in order to do it. I took the one ring off because I wanted to see what was going on as to why it was catching. But let me show you where the guide is. So there's a guide that comes up, which you can see is broken. There's the piece of plastic there. So that loading ring has to be completely changed in order for us to do a repair on this machine. So what we're going to do, and I am going to take this all apart. So there's another thing that I wanted to note here. This is the brake for the loading ring. It's a spring-loaded device, but this brake was stuck, and that's why the loading ring wasn't engaging and disengaging, because this was stuck. But also there was a guide that was stuck up underneath here, like what I thought. And but I've got the guides now will load. You can see that now they will go into place. Well, see, this is not popping up. This is supposed to pop up, and it's supposed to catch in the let's see here. Yeah, it's not going in to the slot. Okay, so but now I can get the loading ring to move. But basically, the main cause that was causing the loading ring to not move was the fact that, yes, this brake was stuck. So I think what happened is the oil had dried up, because there's supposed to be, you can see this little shaft here. There's actually supposed to be a drop of oil on that post so that the brake for the loading ring can operate and go back and forth. Now, if the mode switch is dirty or the mode switch has failed on here, what will happen is if the mode switch is not working, it doesn't tell it to release the brake. Now, when it's loading, you'll hear a certain noise. When it threads, you'll hear it make a certain noise, and then when it goes to unthread, it will make a certain noise. It'll go and then it'll move. But anyway, so I've just been working on this, and I didn't really want to do this much disassembly, but it's something that had to have been done because I had to get this loading ring to work again. And I thought that there was a broken guide, but there may not be. Now there's one here that's not. So I gotta figure out why this guide is not. Oh, I think this guide is boogered up. Yeah, this guide's kind of boogered up a little bit, and that's why it's not popping up. It's not. So it's supposed to pop up like that. So you'll see this one goes. Ooh, hey, why is it? It's not supposed to. So I still have work to do, but okay. So this loading ring gets released. There's a piece of plastic here that's kind of broke off right in here, but that's not keeping it from loading and unloading. So, but you can see how it goes down underneath there. So it goes underneath this steel plate here, and yes, I had to remove the control track, and yes, I will have to realign the control track, but that's not a big issue right now. My main issue is getting the brake to release so that the threading assembly can operate correctly. Okay, so what we got here, this is the pinch roller, which goes to here, and it applies. We can see that. So I got it unstuck. So I think I can now reassemble the unit, and I just gotta make sure that these guides are gonna lock into place, which they are, or at least that one is anyway. But there's a switch that gets activated, and then it'll only go so far. But I've got to see why this guide here is not going up into the... So the guide's supposed to ride up into here, see? So this guide is supposed to stick up and go into here. And if this has been out of adjustment a little bit, that'll not allow it to do that. So, okay, so there it is in the fully threaded position. This guide is supposed to be back inside of here, and it's not doing that. So before I put everything back together, I need to get the guide is supposed to go in like that, and it's not. So, but the brake gets released. So we release the brake. Okay, now the threading gear can unthread. And the loading ring, the threading ring, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm just going to call it a loading ring. Okay, but which threads and unthreads the tape around the drum. Okay, so with that being said, and there we go. Now there's no guides to keep it from going back too far, but let's see if now our guides will go up in there like they're supposed to. Okay, the one is still not doing that. And I may need to replace this guide because or adjust this so that, because I think if this was over just a hair, yeah, then it goes in there. No, it still doesn't, it's not popping up. It's not, that's what's going on. It's not fully writing up like it's supposed to. It's supposed to go up all the way like that, so that when it goes into the so I still have work to do on this, but at least I got the loading ring to operate. As you can see, now it's moving like it's supposed to. So, but this guide, however, is being a pain in the ass, and I don't know why it's not quite, other than the fact that it's not fully standing up like it's supposed to. It's not spring. If it doesn't stand up all the way, then it's not going to catch into the stopper. So we have to do an alignment on the control track when I put that back in, and we'll get that taken care of. But you see, this moves and it releases the brake, but this also activates the tensioner. So this is the tape tensioner, and too much tension and the tape won't play. Not enough tension and it won't play. So so yeah, we got that. Now we've loosened it, so now it'll go back. So let's just get this loading ring. Okay, it's still not catching. It's still not catching. I may have to replace the loading ring itself in order to get, I think it's bent is what's going on. Yeah, I think it's just bent. It will just bend it back. You can take there's a small screw that you can take off, and I could replace the guide with another guide, and then but we'll at least get this back together so that it'll, there it goes, see, now it's going in there. You see that? That's what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to do that. So now that we've got this, okay, so will it now lock into place? Yes, it will. So now it's locking into place. Now we can put this thing together. Now we hit that, and what does it do? It releases it and puts the tape guides, they go back into place like that. And when it loads, there we go. Booyah. Working. It is working. It's working. It's working. I like that one scene of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace when young Anakin says, "It's working, it's working." And then pop the brake, and the brake releases. I think the guide was bent, and so it was catching on something, and it was catching probably underneath this plate here, this shielding plate. You can take this plate off, but it is a little bit of a chore to get it off because there's a mounting tab on each side. So there's 2 mounting tabs here and 2 mounting tabs over here. And what you have to do is we'd have to take the this inner ring here would have to be removed, and in order to get this shielding plate off. So I thought maybe there was a guide that was broken. I thought the guide was broken, but what it was it was bent, and so because of it being bent, it was catching underneath here, and it was getting caught. And I could see it where it was getting caught because it was sticking out where it shouldn't have been. And because that guide was bent, it was getting caught and it wasn't threading and unthreading. So now we've got it to thread again. We're going to put our loading rings, our threading loading ring covers, dust covers, back on, whatever you want to call them. I don't know the proper name for these, but hey, you know, they're covers for the loading ring. So anyway, yeah, somebody's probably gonna put a comment saying I said this and that wrong, but you know what, I don't care. So here we go. We got, this thing is now working, as you can see. This didn't look right, but what it was you see, this is the roller. There's a roller under this. That's what this piece is here. Underneath this is a plastic, this white plastic. This is just a cover, but there's a roller underneath it that the ring rides against. But this piece of plastic here was broke. So I could see this plastic here was broken. And then the guide was bent, and so that's why it wasn't fully releasing there. So yeah, so we got it going. So what I'm going to do is put it all back together. I'm going to put my guide back on. So I'll show you the guide here. Where did I put that guide? Where did I put that stupid tape guide? Here it is. So let me show you on these what happens. But what happens is usually the plastic breaks and then it is no longer attached to anything. But if you want to know how to put them in, they're very simple to remove and put back in. But they've got little. There's a notch here. You see this notch? It's going to go down into, where is it here? Yeah, it's going to go down into this. So we're going to push it down in there. So it just goes down in there like that. Now we got to put our guides. Our loading ring assembly has to go back together. So we will get this back in there. And we're going to start getting this put back together so that we can get, see, so now it goes underneath there like that. And it goes gotta go underneath there. Okay, now we're gonna do that. So, alright. Alright. But we're gonna get that in there. Snap that back down into place. And then get these screws back in there. And we'll put the screws in and get this floating ring back together. And once we do that, see, this rides in there like that. There's little grooves that it rides into. So let's put the loading ring back together. Let's get it snapped back into place. We're going to put the other one on. The other one goes in like this, just like so. As you can see, there's a little cutout here for the where the guide rides into. And we'll go into this just like that. Okay. Now, alright, we've got this back in. Let's get this back into place. I just want to get them in the main positions where they've got to go, so that we can get this back together. So it's starting to come back together. We're going to put the audio and control track head. And hey, this is a great time to clean it when you got it out. So we're going to have to do an alignment on the well, maybe not, because I haven't moved the physical head has not moved. It's basically just a mounting it's just a mounting thing, but mounting bracket, but we got to get this back in as well. So I've reassembled the little tape guide and audio. This is the tape guide and the erase head, and the audio and control track head has been put back into place. So now I can start putting the video head back in. Now I will have to make adjustments to the audio control track head because it's not quite in the right spot. So we'll probably have to do an alignment on that. But that's the least of my worries right now. So my main concern is to find out what was causing the guides to go so far and then stop. What was causing that? Well, it was the bent guide. And as soon as I bent that guide back in, it went into that slot, but the guide was actually bent and it was popping out over here on this side, and so it was popped out because it was bent, and so it was just catching on the piece here, and it was just not allowing it to move. And so of course we've also got to put we'll have to get a new piece here. I've got to get a new plastic gear here to we'll just basically, because we got to put this back on as well. And I think what happened is when the tape guide, when a tape was put in and a tape guide actually went so far and then stopped, but the motor kept going, because, and the reason the motor kept going is because the guide has to go up to a certain spot before the switch gets activated that tells the machine to stop the motor. Well, the motor's still spinning, and these gears are spinning, right? And why are they still spinning? Because it hasn't got to there yet, but it's still spinning. And what's doing? Well, now it's chewing off the teeth. So the teeth are getting chewed up, and so it was all due to a guide that had gotten bent and had caught up underneath the steel of the shielding plate, and that was causing the problem. So we'll put a new loading motor on. I've got the switch back in, so mode switch back in, and on these we'll pull the mode switch back off so you guys can see. There's a little nipple that goes to this little, there's a little arrow or a little dot. Yeah, there's an arrow right there. That's your home position, and the nipple has to be where that arrow is, and that is the home position. And this black piece has to be over like this, and you just take the mode switch, put it in, push it down into place. Now we're gonna put we can put our loading motor in. I've got a motor I can put on there that I can put in. I wish I knew what he did with the motor, because it would have been nice to have, but it could be that he might have misplaced it. Oh yeah, I've also got to put that other gear back on too. Because I still have pieces to put back on, but this is the piece that we have to put on here. So we gotta get this piece back on as well. So I'm gonna take that mode switch back off because I'm not done yet in here, but we're gonna go ahead and get this back in as well. Just slides in there, but just like that, it will slide in there. That goes back and forth because that actually is what pushes the pinch roller up against the capstan. So, and then we got that little spring that we got to put on, so we'll put the spring, put that little spring on as well. Okay, so enough talking and more action. So let's plug this thing in and we'll see what happens, shall we? Alright, let's get this thing to plug in. So if we can solve the, if we've solved the loading and unloading problem, great. We'll see if it plays. So let's get a alright, so it's no longer saying there's a cassette in. So that's good. So I'm not going to use a cassette with tape in it at this point in time. Fast forward. Not very well. Rewind. I don't like the way that sounds. Play. Okay, so we're gonna Okay, it's jammed up. So we got a problem where the our mechanism is still jamming, but I haven't even been able to do this yet. So, but we've got fast forward and rewind, no play. We have no play yet. We're getting there. I do wonder if this capstan motor is failed, because if this capstan motor is not coming on, that's why we have no play. But we need to address the loading issue first before we can figure out. Now, we've also got a cassette basket that's not working right. So I've got to release the, maybe that spring is, there we go. So that will release the, so it's not releasing. So I've got to determine as to why the why it's not releasing the brakes, because this is the brake here and the brake is not working right. So we still have a problem, but I'm going to put a real tape in it because I want to see if maybe maybe there's a maybe if I put a real tape in, maybe it'll do something. So let's just get a old test tape, which I should have one here somewhere that I can use. Yeah, we got this one, I guess. We'll use this one. I think this one was recorded there in the original Beta 1. Yeah. This has got the original Beta 1. Yeah. So this back piece isn't releasing, but we're not fully seated. Okay. Alright, well, let me get the tape out here. See if we can get this tape out. For one thing, I don't care that this tape got chewed because, oh, okay, it just snapped it. That's alright. That's okay. We have plenty of tapes. I think maybe just some good old lubrication will fix the eject issue. So let's address the eject issue. So it's not jammed up anymore. It's not getting jammed. It's just that the brake is not releasing. Well, when this first came in, I mean, we're getting there. We're still far from working, but we are getting there. So what I'm thinking is going on is I think that our capstan motor is not working, and I think that's why we have no play, because if the capstan doesn't work, now we could probably go into the servo. I'm just hoping it's not like a IC or something that's messed up in it. Yeah, I just hope one of these ICs hasn't went bad, or could be servo related as to why the capstan's not working. But let me get this up on its side. Yeah, I don't know if I have a capstan motor for this. Because this has got a different capstan motor, but he might have. Let me just take a peek and make sure that he didn't unplug it, because if he's got the capstan motor unplugged, or if it's not plugged in all the way, so I'm going to take a look at that. But yeah, I'm just wondering, do I have any... Now, one way to find out is to see if the capstan's turning. So I could take this shielding, I could take this black shield off here, and we'll see if the you can see if the capstan's turning. That's why I hate it when these shields are on here, because you can't see. I have to take I'll have to take this off just to get to that shield. But I think I can test to see if it's moving another way. So let's get a tape back in it. And we're going to use an empty cassette. Okay. Yeah, we don't have... Oh, this is bad news. We have no capstan at all. So that's why we have no play, because our capstan... Let's see what happens if we... That doesn't sound good, does it? So, okay, so I know why we don't have play. So we don't have play because we don't have a capstan motor our capstan motor does not work. So, shit. That means I'm gonna have to source a parts deck. And it's not something that's going to be easily obtained because of the type of motor that it is. This particular motor was used in most of the later end of life a capstan motor. I mean, I could take the capstan motor out of my 2000 and put it into here and see if that makes it work. I'm sure it will. But the real table motor does need to be serviced because it shouldn't be. Almost to me, it just almost seems like maybe the tension band is tight. If the tensioner band is too tight, that'll definitely cause some problems with playback. As to why it's having trouble rewinding, because under a load, it will do it if it's not under a load. The minute it's under a load, it doesn't want to do it. So when we had a real tape in there and it was under a load, it didn't want to do any of that. Okay, we're gonna get the tape back out, so let's get it to eject again. This is gonna be fun. Can't remember what direction to put it in so I can get it ejected. So it's ejecting okay, but the cassette basket has a problem too. So it's well, he's gonna have to pay quite a. I'm trying to keep his bill as low as possible, but I want to see if we can get, yeah, I hate to tear mine apart, but I really hate to pull the capstan motor out of my 2000 just to see if this thing will work, because, okay, so I have an 870D, the SL-HF2100 uses the same capstan motor. The problem is, that motor, that capstan motor, actually has an issue. Okay, so I can't use the one out of my 870D. I mean, I could try, but the problem with that one, the reason why I didn't get my 870D working is because when you hit play, the take-up reel wants to move in reverse. So yeah, and that's due to a capstan fault, so I can't really do it. But I mean, I'll try it. I will try it. I'll try anything, right? So I will try that and see. I can get it to unload, but I have to manually get this thing to move back. So there's something causing it to not release. So it's just simply not releasing. I mean, that's not really a big deal. So, but yeah, let's pull the real table motor out, and I want to check that and see what's going on there. But I do know that we're not getting... I'm going to check some voltages too. Now, one of the things that could be happening, okay, is we could have a power supply fault. Because if we're not getting voltage going to the capstan motor, then the problem could be in the power supply. And why in the power supply? This is a switching power supply, and they usually always give trouble, especially with these ELNA capacitors, as this one has in it. Now, this is interesting because it's got a transformer, and it's got a switching power supply. So it looks like it's got two different sections for the power supply. This is kind of interesting because this is the switching power supply, and then it's got the another power supply, which seems to be kind of a linear power supply. That's kind of interesting because it's got a transformer. So probably for some of the other functions on here, maybe. But this capacitor does kind of look a little warm. This is a 22 microfarad at 16 volts. I do see some ELNAs, so it could be a power supply fault. Yeah, I could put a capstan in there and see, but let's take the real table motor out because I'm just curious as to what's going on there. But yeah, so we got some issues, but it's nothing that we can't sort out. And I think just lubrication is something that probably needs to happen. As to why the so I'm thinking when you just clean the old goop, it's probably got oil or something on it that's dried up. I'm sure it's just dried up, but because there's a post here. Well, actually that brake does ride on the post, and if the post is dry, that could be causing the... because it tries to kick it over. It's not kicking it over far enough. So it's trying. But I think, you know, we've got... actually, we've got three faults. We've got a mechanical fault with the releasing of the brake. We did fix the threading tape thread problem. So we fixed that. That's not a big deal. That's been repaired. But it's not releasing the brake, okay? That's one fault. Second fault, no capstan motor. The motor's not driving at all. Third fault, cassette housing is not fully seating the tape. It's not dropping the tape down all the way. We'll see if this tensioner is too tight, because if you remember on when I was working on my SL-HF2100 that I got, the tensioner was really tight, and so it was bogging it down, and so it was like the supply reel wasn't able to move. Okay, here we go, look. Yeah, we just need to get some lubrication going for the real table motor. I think it just needs lubrication because it's just old, dried out, right? Ooh, this is pretty stiff too. This is really stiff. Yeah, well, let's investigate that, I guess. we'll start there, because I'm just wondering if I'm getting voltages to the capstan, because I'll test and check some voltages and see, because if I'm not getting voltage going to the capstan, then that's why the capstan's not turning. But yeah, with capstan not turning, that's... But you know, this rotary transformer is making just a hair bit of noise when I turn it. So I can hear it's just a little bit of noise, and that's probably due to the moisture got in there, or there's a piece of dirt that's got lodged in there and keeping that from, but that seems to be turning. But I don't think that this is going to last for very long. I mean, we can fix the machine and we can get it going, but his drum motor, the rotary transformer, might fail at some later date, later on down the road. And this is a 2100, so it's not like you're going to be able to just get a 2100. Because these machines, even if they're broken, they go for stupid, ridiculously stupid prices. I mean, one guy had one of these that was not working, and he wanted, I think he said he wanted like $500 for it, and I'm like, fuck. And I thought that was, you know, bad. And then another guy had one of these. He wanted $1,000 parts or repair, and somebody paid him the $1,000. So no way in hell am I gonna pay that kind of money to get parts for this. I can probably get a 2000 parts deck, you know, for a couple hundred, and get this one going. But gosh, that's just crazy amount of money. So we're gonna... I don't want to sacrifice my 2000 to get this guy's machine going, but that may be what we're gonna do. I don't know. We could just be the power supply. You know, we need to go into the power supply probably. Change some caps. I'm gonna recommend doing that anyway. I'm going to try to keep the owner's price down as much as I can. This part 1 has gone on pretty much long enough, I think, but, yeah, gosh, this is, okay, this seems to be moving now. But this is pretty stiff. There we go. Actually, now I just broke free. It broke free, whatever it was. Whatever it was that was lodged in there. Let's just try and see what it does now when we go into... Oh wait, we've got to pull it back in. Let's just... There we go. Now it sounds normal. So, play. Nope, still no play. But we now have fast forward and rewind. So, okay, whatever was lodged Well, I think it was just lubrication. I'm still going to go in and do a full service on the real table motor. I'm just trying to show you guys certain things that happens to these so that you guys can get yours going. And yes, this is going to be quite a fun project. This is a little bit on the challenging side. I like to be challenged, so it's okay with me. Now let's get this ejected, but yeah. See, now it sounds fine. But that cassette housing is going to need replaced. So I bet you now if we put it under a load, it'll work. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it underneath under a load here, but yeah, I'm gonna see why I do want to find out why why that's jamming up and why it's not releasing why the brake's not fully disengaging. Yeah, so if I hold the tape into its position, so if we hold the tape down where it's supposed to be, I can hit forward, and I have fast forward now. I still don't have rewind. Oh yeah, I do. That was where the splice was in the tape. That's why it struggled there, and I stopped it because I didn't want it to go any farther.